Hi, Kathy here from kathyskutekreations. Today we're going to be doing release 2, which is the number 3 block called Caroline Lily block for the Bloom Topia. That's what we're going to do today. So here are our 3 colors. It's the white. It's the, that's a little bit of an orange. I don't know what kind of color it's showing up on screen here. And then this is a green. We have 24 of these little squares. These are 2.5 inch squares, and we're going to mark diagonally on them because we are creating flying geese. If you're just tuning in, what it wants you to do is mark it from one corner to the other. And I know this is going to be kind of hard because it looks like pink on pink. So normally I mark it like this, and you're going to do all 24. They'll look like that. And I went ahead and put pink on pink again. So let's mark all of those. Take 9 of your white pieces of fabric. They are fabric G, and you're going to take, let's see, nope, I'm sorry, they're fabric C. They're the white ones, they're the background. And you're going to take the G, which are actually these little pieces here, and we're going to sew them on the end down here and do that. Okay? So it's just the 9 white ones for starters. I'm going to change stitch these. I'm using a 2.5 length. I have my pink fabric, my pink thread on the top and the bottom right now. And I went ahead and I flipped this over. Instead of going this way, which begins here, I don't want to have to worry about it going down on my machine. So I'm going from the side here. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain stitch them. Now, someone asked if I was going to finish last year's quilt and put it together, and yes, I am. I just need to find the time for it. I'm definitely going to put it together. I'm in the middle of about 3 projects. When we cut out our fabric on the Electric Go, I'm in a project right now with that because remember I was using the paper piecing from the Creative Notions box. Well, after I made them a few times, I was having difficulty at the beginning, and I thought, Jesus, this is not going to work because it is not easy. But after I did a couple of them, I found that if I pinned them, it worked out better. So I'll show you in our next Go Electric demonstration, when I show you something else, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did them because then it went really, really fast. So I will show that in that one. Because I went a totally different way. So now what we're going to do with this is we're going to take them, we're going to cut them, and I'm going to show you just in case this is the first time you've done any of this. I put my rotating board mat out here because it's so darn hard to see the pink on the pink. So what I do is I turn, since this is the part that we're going to cut off, I face this to my right because I'm right-handed. I'm using my Creative Grids ruler, which already has the 1/4 inch marked. So I lay my dotted lines across the line that I just sewed. And then I cut the excess off. And that's what it'll look like. I'm going to do them all like that. Then I'm going to turn them like this. And I'm going to iron them before we put the next one on. Because these must be open to put the other wing on this goose. So let's do that. The next step is to take and we're going to put one of these squares on this side. And what you want to do is make sure, when we did it the last time, we put our square like that. But we don't want to do it that way. We want to be able to sew across here. So we're going to turn our square. And our line is going to be from the bottom to the top or the top to the bottom. And we're going to pin it like that. And then we're going to sew it. And I'll sew it from the top up here down. And I'll pin every one of mine. Go ahead and pin all 9 of yours. We'll get ready to chain stitch them. Now we're going to complete this by cutting off the end just like we did before, ironing it open. Then I'm going to show it to you. And if you guys have a leg bar to lift your foot, now would be a good time to connect that to your sewing machine, because this is terrific when that foot lifts all by itself. Now my machine, I've got it set on it, but this does also have a bar lift. Let me get these ironed. There we go. We got our 9 made. They should be measuring 2.5 this direction and 4.5 that way. Now let's go to the next step. It says we're going to put 2.5 inch white squares on each side of only 3 of them. Don't do more than 3. Let me pin these. I went ahead and I pinned both sides of this, and I'm going to chain stitch them. Now remember, we're using a 1/4 inch on this. Not a scant, but an actual 1/4 inch. Before I cut these 3 apart, I will just go ahead and chain stitch them. I'm going to put my foot in this fabric first because there's a little bit of a bulk there. We've ended up with 3 of them. We want to go ahead and put them aside. Now we're going to take our 3 pieces of green and then our remaining 6 of these, orangish, pink, whatever they're called, and we're going to go ahead, I've already marked them, as you can see, and we're going to make flying geese again. So let's make 3 of these. Here's what it wants us to do next. It wants us to combine this with this and then join a flying geese on each end, like that. So let's sew this together first, and then after we have all those 3 done, we'll sew these to this like that, so we'll have it all together. So let's change the first thing I did was I took the unit, flipped it upside down, because we do not want to take our tip off right there. This is where you take your marking pencil or pen, friction pen, whatever you got. You put your mark right on the X. I go right above the X. I'm going to show you here so that you can see it. See where I put it right there? And then what you're going to do is you take your ruler and lay it down and then draw a line. See if I can get my line to work here. There we go. And then you want to make sure that when you sew, you stay right on that line so that you do not go. Let me get a pen, it's easier to see it. So that you do not go on this side of the line, because it'll take the tip of your goose off. So stay right on this line right here and go across it, and you'll have that without the tip lost, okay? So do all 3 of these units together like that, just these 2 pieces, and go ahead and mark them all. Alrighty, so now all you do is just go from one end to the other. Quarter inch. And you're going to watch it when you come up here to this line. And then you take, I'm going to go ahead and hold on to the top part so I can just guide it with my thumb here. Let's take this out because that'll be too much for it. There we go. I might have to move it over a little bit, but let's go through that first. And if you think that you're not going to make it the first time around, go ahead and make your stitches bigger. So when you pull it out, it won't be an issue. It's better to be further away from it and go back over it closer to the tip than to be so close that you've clipped it off. Let's take a look at all these and see if we got to get closer. This one looks like it can go a little closer. I didn't quite get close enough. Let's see if that'll work. Okay, let's take a look at them over here. That's what one of them looks like. There's the other one. And the last one. Looks like that there. Okay, now let's iron them open. Here's what they all look like. Now we're going to go put the sides on, and remember that you want to put the side on like this. And I'm going to show you how to do that so that it's right on that seam line. The very first thing I'm going to do before I do any pinning or anything is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark so I don't lose my tip. So I put my ink right there on every one of them. I got all three of them sitting right here. And then I'm going to take my ruler and put my mark. There's one. Here's two. You don't have to go far. I tried to go the 1/4 inch on either side there. And here's the third one. And then the next thing we're going to do, now that's just for the right side. So the picture shows the geese are going up and this fabric's on the top. Then it attaches to this one. Let me back it up a little bit here. This one's going to go like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a pin. Get a little closer here. Take your pin, put it in the right above where it crosses, like that. And in this case, let me go down a little bit because so I can show you the beak here. Okay, see the pin right there? I'm looking at that. And I'm looking at this seam here. Now, if you need to mark your 1/4 inch, you can do that. Do it like that. And I'm going to go ahead and let me pin it on each end here real quick. So I'll put one pin here. And there's nothing matching up. You don't have any kind of seams or any kind of matching. So I have this in the middle just like that. Then I take my pin and I'm going to pin it on this side. And then my pin is straight in there. See how I got my hand? I'm holding it between my fingers there. And here. And I can take this middle one out. And then I'm going to sew from one end to the other right there. And I'm going to do that on each one of these. this side and the other side. So let me get them all pinned first. Pin these just like I did before. So I pinned the last set that I did pins it on the right side, pin on the left side. We'll do 3 of these, turn it, and then we'll do 3 again so that I don't have to keep taking it off. So they all turned out really good. Nobody lost their tips. There's the other set. Now we're going to put the tops on. Now this is where you're going to do the nestling, because these two here, they got to be going the opposite direction. And then you're going to nestle them. Then you're going to put a pin in them. I put the pin on this side here so that doesn't flip over when I sew. And we're going to pin every one of them like this. Just make sure that your goose head is going up towards the top, the tips. I'll show you here in a second. So it's going this way on your fabric. This is the tip top. And if you have to re-iron these little pieces to get them to nestle, then go ahead and do that. And then when it comes across the front, we're going to put the little pin and we're going to mark it again now. And do all 3 of them like this. It only gets done on one side now, because when you flip it up, it looks like that. Okay, now we're going to chain these. Chain stitch, in case you didn't know what I meant. And then after this, we're going to start the tail end, which is the green parts. I like to feel we're at the halfway mark. Them. All the tips look good. We didn't lose any of our tips. Nope, not a one. Alright, so let's get ready to do the green fabric. So we've got all our green fabrics marked, little 2.5 inch squares. We have our white fabric out here. We've got 2 of them. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to... Am I missing a white one? Oh, how many white ones do I have? Yep, 2. Okay, so we're going to take these here and we're going to do the flying geese. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. we're going to do the right sides together. Now make sure that if your fabric for the body of this goose actually has some direction. See, mine doesn't. It's just a plain white. It's not a white on white or anything, so there's not a right or a wrong side. I just want to make sure that, in my case, I want to make sure that my right side of my fabric is laying down when I get ready to sew it. But if you're using something that's directional, then you want to pay attention to that. You know, go ahead and pin it, just like, for example, let's say that you weren't sure. This is what you can do. Just take your pin. Can I do this with one hand? Oh, I don't know. Hold on. Okay, let's say that you're not sure if this is the way it's supposed to look. Well, take your pin, act like you've sewn it, and then flip it over. Then if this is directional, you'll know if that's going in the right direction or not. Now, if you cut it wrong, I can't help you there, but at least if this was going downward and you wanted to go upward, you could take it apart, flip it around, and do this with it, and then sew it. Because then when you do it, it'd be going that direction, which is the correct direction. All right, so you want to be mindful of that when you're doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and pin all these just like I did before. Now, as we do these, we're going to end up with 2 flying geese. So I'm going to start up at the top of my fabric, which is the nose of the goose. And if you haven't done any flying geese, then I would just do some practice pieces with some of my scraps. Because once you get to doing, you'll develop a rhythm. It'll be a lot easier. I know it always seems like it's, at first it always seems like it's daunting and it's hard. Just keep with it. All right, let me cut the ends off of this. All right, so I have both of these cut. The excess is cut off. They're ironed. And now we're going to put the other side, the right-hand wing. Okay, we're going to do that. And I'll usually put my needle in before I put my foot down, so it's right on the line. And now I'm going to cut and iron these, and I'll be right back to show them to you. These 2 done, and they're going to have these little 2.5 inch. We're going to put these on each side, just like we did in the last ones. Like that. So we're going to sew them, and I'm going to go ahead and pin the right side and the left side onto that. So just like the other one, I'm going to sew one side. We'll chain stitch both of these. Let's see if I can get it started here. Somebody's bed down underneath here has scooted closer to my foot pedal. I couldn't reach it. Somehow he stretched himself out and pushed his bed. To stop here in a minute and fix that, because he's just shoving it closer and closer to the foot pad. I almost can't sew with it. Alright, so I'm going to iron both of these open. And we have those finished. Now we're going to be working on our strips, because we have the white and the green strips. And when you iron this, you want to iron towards the inside, which is the dark fabric. That's what it's telling us to do. When we get finished, this is going to be 4.5 wide by 12.5 inch long. The strips are, the white ones are 2 inches, the green one is 1.5 because it's smaller since it's the stem. I've sewed one side and now I'm going to sew the other side. And then it should equal 4.5 inches in width by 12.5 in length. Oh, my bottom thread is almost empty. Let's see how far I can get. Sometimes I can make it, and sometimes I can't. We're going to see here. I still got a little bit more. Just a little bit more. I think I've got it. I think I have. There we go. Let's see, what do I have left? Do I have any left? Oh my gosh, that was it. I literally used the very tail end of it right there. That's all I had left right there. Okay, let me get this iron. The stem, when it's done, and it does measure the 4.5 by 12.5. So here's what we're going to do next. We're going to attach this flying geese unit to this, and then attach this, and we're going to make 2 of these. So let's do that first, and they're going to be opposite. So this one will be this direction. Let me move it over here. And then this one, because it needs to go towards the stem, our stem will be in here. So that one has to go towards it. So because of that, we have to take this one towards that one before that stem goes in. So we'll have one here on the left and one here on the right. Let's pin those. This one we have some nestling and some marking. So I've marked that tip up there, but you got to nestle these ends here too. Don't forget that. You're going to be nestling this so that it matches up. So I'll do the nestle first. Then I'll go to the end and I'll pin it. Go over to the right side. Same thing. I'll do my nestling first. Then go to the end, pin it. And I'll go back here to the middle, and then I'll just put one pin in it. Just like that, because that's how we're going to be sewing it. Both of them. And we'll chain stitch that. Watching your line when you come across. Now, if you don't think that you can do that from the end down here, go ahead and start right here before that line. Actually, I'm going to put my pin right on the line. I'm starting right in the middle of my fabric. Don't need to lock it or anything. All you're going to do is come across that line. Once your needle's in there, it should go straight across there. There we go. I can go ahead and go to the end. All the way to the end of my fabric here. Take it off. You can do one of two things. You can either flip this upside down or go ahead and start on this side now, which is what I'm going to do. And come right up to it. I'm going to go right over it. I'm going to go ahead and take it on down to the end. If you want to stop, you can, because you'll already have gone over your fabric once. I'm going to go ahead and start it like a regular. that's it. Alrighty, we did not lose any points. Let's look at our tips down there. They're looking good. And then we're going to attach this bottom rectangle to each one. And then we're going to put the top of, there's two little 2.5 inch squares that go on the top of our stem, which will be the bottom of our flower, which are, it'll help connect the next two. So we'll see it here in a minute. I'll show you how to do that. This is what you would be looking at. We flip this over. But keep in mind, we have tips, points right here we don't want to lose. So flip it over like that, turn it over like this, and now we're going to mark this edge here. So if you look closely, let me see if you can even see that in the camera. Let me get you down closer. There we go, right here at the edge. You're looking at this right here. See where these two stitches crossed over? Right here? That's where we're going to put our mark. So we're going to go on the top of the cross, just like it was the tip. And then we're going to put our mark right like this. And then we're going to sew on this side. And when we come across this, we'll make sure we are on this line and it won't take off the corner of that star or that flower. And then we're going to do it on both ends here. This one, and then on the other square before we actually sew it. A 1/4 inch and it's a little bit less, that's fine. You can always go back and stitch over that if you need to, because I noticed it on that one there that it was a little less than a 1/4 inch. You can always make your stitch a little smaller too to reinforce it. But with all the quilting that gets done on these quilts, it shouldn't be a problem with coming loose. Where you take a look at it before you do anything else with it, and then if it needs to be reinforced or redone, you go ahead and do that, and then you can iron it. Now the parts that we did, and we did not lose any of our corners. See, they're right on the edge there, but we didn't lose any of them. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew that 2.5 inch squares to either side of that stem. We're going to do that next. When you sew these, they're going to be just like the flying geese. So we're going to do one first, just like before. I'm going to come down from the top. I'm going to fold it over like this. And then we're going to do the other one on top of that. Okay, so let's pin that first. As I do this one, I'm going to hold this a little bit taut before I put my needle in here, because I want to make sure that my fabric, where I've ironed it, is not folded over anywhere, because you don't want that to happen on you. And I'm going to go straight down this line, just like any other goose that we do. And if you need to, well, I don't know if you spray starch, but you know your fabric will shrink if you spray starch it. But you can put a stabilizer on that if you want, if you don't trust yourself. And you can use a piece of paper for stabilizer. Go ahead and cut it off like I did, and then pin it on this side so that your needle will go up here. I'm going to start sewing from the top down so we can fold that one up. And if you don't feel like you went over far enough, you can always repeat it. Just put it back in like this, wherever you feel like it. I'm just going to stick it in here and try to go on my same exact threads here. And then just slowly come on back down. You can go all the way off the edge because you've already got it started. just in case you don't think you got it right. Test it out here. Fold it over, take a look at it. Looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and iron it and cut it. Okay, looking at these, I just realized I did them wrong, because the green were supposed to be on the sides to match up. In other words, it was supposed to be turned like that. So this block is supposed to be down here. So I'm gonna repeat it. I'm gonna take it off and redo it. Taking our remaining piece now, and we're going to put these 6.5 inch squares on each side. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to mark my point here, because I want to make sure I don't lose that tip. So I'm going to do it on both sides. It'll be on this side, because this will be folded over when we're finished, and it'll be on this side. So flip this over, and I'm going to mark it. And then I'm going to pin these and sew them. I went ahead and I pinned both sides. This side here is pinned also, so you can see it. But I'm leaving this outward so it doesn't accidentally get caught and sewn underneath this other piece. So we'll just do one side, and then we'll just flip it and do the other side. We're not matching up anything at all. All we did was marked our spot so that we wouldn't actually go over our tip and lose it for the corner of our little flower here. The width of our square, and this is the top portion. We're going to attach the right and the left to our stem piece. So let's pin it first. The very first, the right side to the stem, and let me show you what you're looking at. Now you're looking at the tip of this, the tip of that, and matching this to that corner. So when you flip it over, you're going to see that this has to match up. In order to do that, we're going to have to turn the whole entire thing over, because here's what we're looking at, and we want to mark it. Remember I put the tip? So let's do that first. So let's turn it first like this so it's easier to look at. And we're going to see our tip, and we have barely anything off of this one here. It is so close to the edge, both of these ends. I do not know why, but we're going to mark them anyway. And then what we're looking at here is, because we're going to need to be, it looks like it's less on this back side than it is on the front side. And let me see if I can get this in here. Got to come down a little bit here. So really the only thing that I'm looking at on this edge here is the way that this fabric comes up against that. Now I'm going to act like it was sewed right here so I can take a look and flip it. Let's do that. So see how it's going to need to come down, because if it was sewn it would be off that mark there. I got to come down on it. Up here to the top here and pin it, and maybe that may help me a little bit. We're going to check it out. Because this is where you're going to have it hard to match. So let's go like this, and let's hold it, and let's flip it, And that looks a lot better right there. Okay, because they come across. So I'm going to pin this spot right here. And hope for the best. We will take a look as soon as we sew it. Go ahead and pin the rest of this. I'm going to go down to the end. And then go right up into about the middle. And continue pinning it. Just like that. And then I'll have... So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my length and make it longer, and I'm going to try just this one piece that I'm trying to match up to see if I need to move it one way or the other. Because if that's the one that's going to give me trouble, then that's the one I need to be working on before I do the whole entire thing. Because it's going to be so much easier to take that out with a large stitch. Hopefully my arm is not in the way here. Let's see. Alright, take that off. Let's take a look at it. Okay, I need to go higher on my fabric. So let me redo it again. I'm trying to go a little closer to the point. I hate it when that thing gets jammed up there. That fabric right there. Let me see how that did. Okay, that I can live with. That looks pretty good. Alrighty, so let me do the whole thing now. Alright, so now I put my length on 5.5 just then to do that, because I've already I took it out once, but I didn't want to have to take it out again, and if I did, then I wanted to make sure it was really big, so I just took it back to 2.5, and now I'm going to go over it with a 2.5. Closer to that one. I'm going to take a look at it here in a minute. Because when I got up on it, it looked like it was I was too far to the right. Let's see. I need to go a little bit more on this one here. So let's just put it right where it was at, and then slowly go down here and move it over to the left a little bit, just a little. There we go. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to try to match that one up first. So I've already moved my length up. Just in case I've got to take it out. Let's take a look at it here. Oh yeah, that one's way off. Well, wait a minute. Let me take my other pin out. Maybe it's not way off. Nope, by the time I got my 2.5, I can live with that one too. So let me go ahead and pin it. And I'm coming from the other end when I sew it. Okay, because I'm going to start at this end and work my way up. And then I'm going to go back down to 2.5 for my stitch. my gosh, my bobbin thread is almost done. What? How can that be? Just put another one in there. All right. Let's take it out. I see lots of bobbin in there, so that must, or maybe I don't see. Well, yeah, I do see it, but it must be wrapped incorrectly. That should have gotten me through the whole thing, but let's just change it out to be on the safe side so I can keep on going. Alrighty. Just right here. I'm just going over my stitches so I don't have to do any kind of locking or anything. Let me see. Look at it here. Let's take a look at it. Looks good. Okay, it all looks good. All right, let me lay it out here. Let me get an iron and then I'll show it to you. That's what it looks like. And now we're going to put the other piece on top of that, I do believe. Well, lo and behold, here I am back at the ironing board. And I showed how to stitch this piece that we had just finished to this one. As you can tell, let me show you here. But none of it took. I just went, last night I sat down, well actually it was early this morning. I was editing my video about 1:30. I was at the tail end of it, and all of a sudden it showed where I had put this on the ironing board, and I said we were going to attach this, and that was it. It quit. So the whole ending of attaching this didn't even get filmed. So I came back upstairs this morning, took it all apart. I'm going to iron it now, and I'm going to go ahead and show you putting these two pieces together. I mean, you already know that I did it because at the very beginning I showed it finished. That's unbelievable that that didn't catch it. That's the disadvantage of this phone. When you're filming, you're not looking at the picture itself. You're looking at the back side of the camera, so you can't tell if that camera's on or not. And whenever I have my setting for my little, oh, what do you call it? This little thing right here, when you have it set for this to be on, so this actually will turn the camera on so that you don't have to touch the camera and bump it, then my sound doesn't work, so I never know if I've clicked it on or not. So now we're going to remark it, repin it, and we're going to sew it. So let me go ahead and iron it first. This here goes in here. So first I'm going to mark on this side so that we don't lose our points, like right here. But then when it comes to this, I'm going to sew on this side to keep from losing these tips. So that's when I'm going to mark on that side. But I'm going to go ahead and mark the parts on this side first, and then I'll flip this over and mark it before I pin it together, and then we will sew it together. So let me do that first. I put the camera on the other side of myself, so I hope I'm going to get this in there. I'm going to go ahead and mark it, and then when I'm done, I'm going to look to see if it worked. So let's see here. So this is going to be two different directions. So what I need to do with this, because we're going to mark it here. This is where you're marking it. I'm going to mark it right there. And then I have to stay above that. So the first thing I'll do is go like this. So let me mark above it. And then I'm going to see if I can match this. And let's check and see if that's right. This is how I'm going to check it. I'm going to put my pin through there. And you know what? I think I need to come down a little further. Let me get another color here. Let's go with a... Let me see here. It should probably be down here more. I can't get that to mark. Oh, I know that's not empty. Let's get another one over here. Let's try try this one. Let's see if that one will mark. Yeah, that one will mark. Okay. So I'm going to come down a little bit further here. All right. Let's see if I can mark that. Just to see here. Okay, so that seems to be working. And see, let's go a little bit higher than my tip, just so. There you go. The thing is, my line for sewing never really disappeared either. So it's still there. Okay, let's just pin this one spot right here. Oh, I got it. Yowza. Let's try not to pin myself. Because this is one of those spots that you've got to make your fabric go either way. All right, let's take that out. Let's mark this one over here. Alrighty. Well, I guess I need to get my scissors because this is more of a hassle than it's worth. Okay, we'll mark it right there. Okay, there's my tip. Okay, let's see. Oh my gosh, my hands are like thumbs today. Okay, that looks good. And which way is my... Okay, so it's going that direction. Ouch, oh my gosh. Yowza, yowza, yowza. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, that's smarted. Okay, this is going to be about as time consuming as I'll get out. My finger's throbbing. Alrighty, let's see here. I gotta go down a little bit more. Just a smidgen here. Okay. And now I have to pull this to get those lined up. There we go. Okay. Now let's see, can I eyeball that? I'm not sure. Oh, it's going to be about right there. Alrighty. I'm going to stop the camera and see if that got in it. That looked like that works, so let's do this one here. And one to the right and one to the left. Let's put a pin in there. Did it go? Yep. And then a pin in here, right there. Alright, that looks good. And then there's, let's see, let's do this side over here. Let's make sure you're in the camera. Yep, you are. Okay. Now we're going to need to flip it over. Ouch. Because this one here, pull it down a little bit in the camera, is right up here. And see, this side doesn't have anything. But this is the side we're looking at right here. Well, heavens to Bessie. I think I need a longer pen. Okay. Let me pin this corner down here and make sure it's right first. And then we'll pin this. So that's going to need to turn a little bit that direction. Okay. All right, let's put a little mark on it. Okay, we'll go over here. Make sure that's in there, okay. If I can go up a little bit higher over here. Okay. I forget to keep doing this corner over here first. Okay, we'll get it right now. And then we'll get this one. Alright, and then we're going to put one in here. Whoops, I need to be putting my pins the other direction though. I just forgot this was the other side, wasn't it? So it needs to go on this side. Well, we're going to pin it on this. We're going to run our machine on both sides, I guess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this area, come down here, sew this area, and then I will flip it back over. So let's do that. I'm on this back side, and all I'm going to do is these two little spots. So I'm on the line to make sure that I don't cut the tip off. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to take my pen out. And then we're going to look at it before we move on and get this fixed first if it doesn't work. Let's take a look. Alrighty, so that one looks okay. be kind of hard, but I can see it, so let's go to the other end. This pin out. Okay. Let's take a look at that one. Oh, that one can actually go over some more. Let's see if that'll work right there. Let's take a look at it. Okay, a lot better. Now we're going to flip it to the side that all the pins are on top. And we're going to start here at the corner. And then we're just going to go over the spot we went on. There we go. It'll just be double sewn over. No problem there. Whoops. What do we got here? Shucks. All right, let's take it off. I evidently flipped it upside down twice. Didn't even notice it. Son of a gun, man. Maybe I'm still tired from being up too late. Let's go this way. Okay, let me turn my pin. Make sure they're all facing the correct way. All right, I feel like I'm doing it on the back side now. Just because I started that one, I feel like it's backwards, although it's not backwards. And here's what we did before, so let's just get rid of some of that because it's a mess to look at. Alrighty, here we go. Slow and easy. I'll try to catch my pins before I go over them because I don't really want to go over them. There you go. Whoops, here's one I didn't. Oh my gosh, I didn't even get the middle one. Lordy, lordy here. All right. I will stick my pin. How did I miss that one in the middle? Oh my gosh. Okay, 1/4 inch and right. Not like having a sewing machine in your face. I'm gonna have to mark that one. All right, let's just come up a little bit. I'll show you what I've missed somehow. And I don't know how the heck I missed it, but let's. So you can see I missed the main one, which is right here. I missed that one, which is the middle of that. I don't know how I did that. And so of course I'm going to have to flip it because I got to be able to see this. So let's put a pin in that. And my thread doesn't look like I got it out of there either. Let me get a tweezers here. Do that real quick because I'm losing my pens here. Hold on 1 second. Get that pen back in there. I wonder if that was a All right, let's do this here. time I did this first. That was my problem. Because I did it first, of course, I totally forgot about it this time around. Thinking it was done already. Let's take a look at it before we go any further, because if that's not right, I've got to stop. Is it right? Oh yeah, that's okay. All right, let's get it back to the way it was before I realized I didn't have it. And somehow my pen got off my... I don't know how that happened, but it did. Okay, let's go that way and take this one out. There we go. Okay, let's... Now, whenever you have to go over something, make sure that when you put your needle in, you're putting it in the fabric that you've already sewn. So, I stopped up here, so I went about an inch back before, so that I can come over and go over the top of that. So it's just like having two seams over it. I mean, not two seams, but two pieces of thread, so it's sort of like locking it in. Okay, let's see if we can get this. Help here, and I might have to get a little closer to it. We're going to look at it here in a minute. Okay, let's take that off. Let's see. Alright, that one looks good. That looks good. Looks like they all look pretty good. Okay, I didn't lose any of the tips. So let's go take an iron to it. Now we've got it sewn together. So let's get it on the wall here. Sit back on the wall. There it is, all completed. The Carolina Lily. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Thanks to all my new YouTube subscribers. I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you. Bye-bye.